What to do? I'm Wood Dude. And for the past couple weeks, I've been working on building some really big projects, really cool stuff along my senpai, Norm Abram. But it's gonna take a couple more weeks. So in the meantime, I thought I would check off a smaller project on my list. It's some sweet Japanese shoes, also called Geta, I think. And because I'm tired of other YouTubers saying I have soft hands because I use power tools, I'm gonna make these shoes using only traditional woodworking tools. You ready? God, I hope so. So the first thing we've got to do is cut the bottom piece of the shoe, the main piece. I've got this piece of really nice white oak, and we're just gonna get to cutting, baby. Now to determine the size of the shoe, you actually want to take your length of the foot, your own foot preferably, and add about an inch and a half to the total length. So my own foot is actually 11 inches, so we're gonna make the shoe around 12 inches. Oh, I already regret this. Now, while Sissy Pants over there has some fun, I wanted to shout out a video that I used as a guide to make these shoes. A very detailed and incredible YouTube video showing how he makes Japanese getas in Thailand. If you're looking to do this for yourself, I highly recommend checking it out. Oh my god. So here's the piece. It actually came out pretty well. It's kind of actually shitty. Either way, it's enough to make two pieces, so I'm actually going to cut down the middle. I'll mark a line and use the saw again. Oh, not straight, but you know what? It's cut. That's all that matters. Now that we got the two pieces cut, I'm actually going to clean up this war crime of a saw cut by using my planer. Just going to pass it over a few times to get a nice and clean edge. Alright, that should be pretty easy. Just a few swipes. Oh, okay, what's happening? What's happening? Holy chipped blade, Batman. Yeah, that needs some sharpening.
Alright guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about sharpening hand planes.
Ah, much better. It's like butter. Butter was wood. I gotta stop talking to myself. Now, with the two pieces cut and the edges looking nice with no gaps in between, it's now time to drill the holes for the little laces in the shoes. Now, to be honest, there is kind of a science to it, but I kind of just picked where the holes made sense based on my foot. I'm gonna drill them using this. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna use this. Clearly I spared no expense. All I gotta do is install the drill bit, mark the holes, and get the drilling. Dumb idea, stupid. Oh, I'm just gonna use traditional woodworking tools. That'll be fun. That'll be nice. God, I'm such an idiot. No. Please put it down. Okay, now day 2, and after what felt like an eternity, I drilled all 6 holes in the shoes. I also rounded off the corners of each shoe with a sanding block and some sandpaper, and rounded over every edge as well, just to break it a little bit and avoid some splintering. The next step is I have to glue these pieces, which I cut as well, onto the bottom of the shoe. Like that, except better. These pieces are called the teeth or the ha. I just wanted to squeeze in here for a moment and highlight that there are some absolute chads out there that can run on a Geta with a single comically tall tooth in the middle. However, I would prefer not to completely shatter my ankles the second I use them, so I went with 2 more modestly sized teeth. Now the placement of these things is actually really critical for the whole shoe. I found the best for my feet and my stance was to have the back tooth 1.5 inches away from the back edge and the front tooth 4.5 inches from the front edge. All I gotta do is get some wood glue, clamp it together, and wait a few hours. And after 24 hours, the glue is completely dried. The next is the laces, but one thing I wanted to mention is that historically Getas were made using a single piece of wood, and these parts were just carved away, which is not great. For my non-woodworker homies out there, let me explain by showing you a mini version of the Geta I made out of a single piece of pine. I just used my table saw to carve out the teeth. You can see that this sweet piss yellow wood grain is all going in the same direction, this way. Watch what happens when I just put a little force on the teeth. they just break right off. Now, there are ways to reduce the chance of this happening. One way is to reinforce the teeth with a couple wooden pegs that go through the shoe. But because my teeth were glued on as separate pieces, it means not only do I have the glue keeping the teeth and the body of the shoe together, which is stronger than the wood, but also the teeth grain is going perpendicular to the bottom of the shoe, leading to an overall stronger shoe. With all that done, all that's left is to tie the laces on the shoe. I originally wanted to go all out and get some traditional fabric and do it proper, but I realized how much time and patience it would take, and I have neither of those right now. So I used some black paracord. I just routed some of the cords through the holes and tied some knots to the bottom of the shoe, and voila. And now it's time to test them out.
It's not bad.
They were a bit awkward at first. I kept thinking I was going to fall forward just on my face. But after a little bit of practice, I was able to work up the courage to try a full-on sprint. Holy shit, look at that speed. For anyone who wants to make their own, your heel is supposed to hang off the edge about an inch. That's good. But your toe isn't supposed to go between the laces like this. That's bad, and I just did a poor job tying the laces. And I also did have to add some washers to the bottom because the paracord knots kept squeezing through the holes and out the bottom of the shoe. I love this project, and now I have a way better appreciation for the skill and the people who use traditional woodworking tools. I might even like traditional tools more than power tools.
What, you kidding me? No, that was awful. Fuck no. Power tools. Definitely power tools.
But that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a good day. Peace.